What are the most deceptive tactics that gurus use to sell millions of dollars of product? That's what we're going to discuss on this video of the Fake Guru Weedout, an online community-based project where we are picking out the best, we're weeding out the rest to finally find the most legitimate gurus and systems that'll give us the greatest likelihood of finding success. So in this video, I want to talk about the different practices that gurus use to deceive people and to get them to buy their systems, okay? And the first and foremost are things that are pretty obvious. You know, their videos, they sell this lifestyle. And gurus are kind of like, I equate them to kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You know, they're back there behind a curtain pulling levers and presenting this image, if you will, or this presentation of their wonderful life and their free time and their fantastic lifestyle that you can have if you just give them $1,000 or whatever it might be. And like the Wizard of Oz, they're pulling levers and the fire-breathing dragon and whatever that would be. People look at this and they don't see the whole picture. They don't see the guru and what's really going on, okay? And so they use these practices to present this picture. And the first and foremost, is the cars. You know, you see them flashing these cars. These Lamborghinis seems to be the car that they always want to flash. And for many of them, they don't own a Lamborghini. Okay, and a lot of them are just going out and they're renting them on Turo or other places, or maybe even borrowing somebody's. In some cases, they may just find one in a parking lot and just stand by it. But even if they want to go as far as renting a Turo, they can rent in some situations, get a Lamborghini for a few $100s. Usually it's, I think, more $500 or $800 for a day, or even rent one for an hour for a small amount of money. And that's a great investment if it's going to allow them to sell a lot of product. It's not a lot to spend on something. So there's the cars. Second thing is the houses. You can rent an Airbnb, for not a lot of, if you spend $1,000 to rent an Airbnb for a day, or $2,000 or whatever it might be, you can create a pretty good image of a great lifestyle there. So another thing that they do is they literally will hire beautiful women, to be walking around in swimsuits and stuff like that. I know for a fact the one guru, one very prominent guru, shot a video doing that, and he admitted it. He kind of talked about the behind the scenes of it. Flew in on a helicopter, and he's walking around his house, and the girls walking around are just simply models, that he's hired. In fact, they weren't even models. They're people, just friends who had, good-looking girlfriends, and they had given them a day at a house that was just, really fun day, and that's all they did. So there's that, what they do. And then another thing that they do is for the money, throwing the cash around. Well, you can buy stacks of fake cash on the internet, and you can't even tell the difference. And a lot of gurus will do this. Believe me, they're not going to have $1 million in cash in their house. And so they're throwing away fake cash. Maybe a little bit on the top is real, but that almost always is a tactic. It's fake. And it's really, somebody who is flaunting cash around like that probably isn't smart enough to be a guru, for one thing. And really it tells you something to me about their, who they are. If they think that's, a good way to sell a product, it just seems like arrogance to me. So that's another thing they do, is the cash thing, okay? Now, those are some of the more obvious things they do. Another thing they do is the awards. You see the Guru Awards flashing, the 2 comma awards that ClickFunnels gives out. Totally legitimate award. ClickFunnels gives that to you. ClickFunnels is a great product. Russell Brunson, who does that, is a great guy. Not a legitimate guy, one of the best marketers in the world. I encourage you checking out his books. But those awards are given for people who sell $1 million in product. And they're pretty easy to get if you've done that, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean they're super successful. They could have sold $1 million of product and had a 5% profit margin and made $50,000, okay? Doesn't say how successful they are really, at all. I mean, it can, but in many cases, that's very deceptive. And they show off those awards. They've always got them on the back wall, subtly showing them, or they're showing them off, holding them up and everything. The other thing about those awards is they are not necessarily reflective of what they've done. It doesn't mean they've sold $1 million on Amazon or as an affiliate. It means they've sold $1 million, and that's oftentimes in sales to their customers. Okay, they've sold $1 million in training systems that may or may not work, and they're basically, and they may or may not have taken advantage of people in the process. And so in a lot of cases, these fake gurus are presenting awards that are being awarded for taking advantage of you. So you should be leery on those things. So those awards are great awards, but you should take them with a grain of salt as they show them off. And again, to me, it's just arrogant to be showing off awards, even if it's subtly on the back of the wall every time they shoot their video. So that's another deceptive practice. And then there's another deceptive practice in the product itself. Oftentimes it's not all that it's cut out to be. Some gurus actually copy the products from other people, so the product may not be legitimate at all, or it may, or just a copy of somebody else's. So that's something that people do. And then going back to the creation of the product and the sales process of it, most gurus, or a lot of them anyway, what they do is on the back end, they've created basically a whole marketing thing that in often cases they haven't created, okay? They're just kind of a front man. And what they've done is created a system that they can sell, and they created and then what they do is they hire out companies. And I know because I worked for one of these companies for a very short time until I found out what their practices were and got in the fight with the manager. I've got another video on that. But I worked there for about a week before I determined what they're doing. And this is one of the largest companies that provides these services. And basically what they do is they farm this out. And so these centers have high pressure, they're high ticket closers is what they're called. And they call in leads, people who have inquired on these programs, and they upsell them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on systems that, in all likelihood, they may be poor systems, and 95% of them are going to fail, and they're highly incentivized to do so. And in some cases, like the trainings itself, it aren't even done by the guru. They're selling guru that supposedly is very personal, but oftentimes it's farmed out to these companies too, who just have some guy from, in college or something, or even just barely out of high school, reading a script and proclaiming to be an expert in marketing or real estate or whatever. So that's a very deceptive practice that occurs as well. So those are some of the practices that occur. I'll put more focus on in some other videos on each and every one and how they go about doing it. But I just wanted to present that not everything is what you see, what it seems to be when you're looking at gurus. These gurus are like the Wizard of Oz. They're back there pulling levers, and a lot of it is not not as what it seems to be. So be cautious. If you're wondering about how the fake guru weed out works and how we are taking the fake gurus out and dealing with this type of deception, check us out. There's a little video on the tail end of this that'll tell you more about how you can be a free member. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you on the next video. If you're not familiar with the fake guru weed out, I want to invite you to learn more about how our community is actually turning the tables on the gurus to find out who you can trust and who's just trying to take your money, to finally find out what works. Amazon, drop shipping, affiliate marketing, etc. And actually what are the cutting edge strategies that are actually working right now. And then to figure out how you can actually lower your cost and get the very best training for your buck so you can actually have money to invest in growing your business. And finally, a very specific, never before done strategy that our community is implementing to actually turn the tables on the gurus, to prove a system actually works before we invest any of our hard-earned money. So if this sounds appealing to you and you want to learn more about how to be a free member of the Fake Guru Weed Out, I invite you to do two things. First off, please click on my face to subscribe to our channel. And secondly, click on the video in the frame to learn more.